Now today, Sam Darnold update. I think you guys have probably already heard, but really good news, positive news, extensive evaluations this morning. Really just revealing a knee bruise in there, a little sore, but hoping Sam can have a normal week of preparation as we go through it. And then just updating you guys on where Addison, Turner, and Pace are at. They'll all be kind of day-to-day this week. Optimistic and hopefully we can get them some good preparation and have a chance to have those guys for a very tough challenge coming up in Green Bay. Really positive areas jumped out, not surprisingly, all over the tape. Really want to highlight the special teams unit. In weeks like this, you can kind of overlook based upon the offensive performance or Sam's performance, running the ball well again, not turning it over defensively with five more sacks to go along with a lot of havoc on that side of the ball. But special teams I thought was phenomenal, really tough matchup against that team. They've got a good scheme and a lot of good players in that phase. Thought Jay Ward and Caleb were outstanding, really in both punt and punt return. And then Ryan Wright, huge punt there, backed up, and another inside the 20 with some great coverage from Caleb. Evans beating the double team on that one. Will with the 58-yarder. Will just continues to be Mr. Consistent, and seeing the where that hit on the upright is as impressive as having the laser-like accuracy to decide he wanted to go ahead and ping that thing through off the goalpost in that moment. Wouldn't put it past him that was what he intended. Brandon Powell, a couple of real close returns, and then just super. The little things, right? We talk a lot about being situational masters. Him on the sky punt return ops, simulating catching it, but then also getting a touch there on the gunner to avoid him being able to down it, and then probably not notice, but Ty Chandler getting all the way to where before that ball had even gone out of bounds, he's out of bounds already, knowing that if he then touches the football in the field of play, that would have still gone to the 40-yard line. So a lot of cool things from a coach's perspective from our team. I'm very proud of the performance of our guys coming off of a physical, tough, hard-fought win against the Niners to come back 7 days later and have that kind of performance against a really good team, well-coached, really good team. Was really proud of our guys. But the challenge now is we're moving forward. As of today, we turn the page and getting ready to go up to Lambeau Field, and Matt's got that team playing great right now. Jeff Hafley, who I've known for a really long time, very few people I respect on the defensive side as much as Haf, and I know he's going to have a great plan for our offense. And Matt's one of the best guys out there doing it on offense. So huge challenge going on the road. Got to keep this momentum, but we do it by what we do on a minute-to-minute, daily basis with how we continue to prepare the way we have throughout the early part of this season.
What did you know about Jonathan Bernard before he got here, and I guess what have you seen from him that has helped him be such an impact player through these first 3 weeks?
Yeah, I just always evaluating him. Matt was always like the get off. Just the explosiveness of his ability to get off the ball, and then speed, power, athleticism as a rusher really fits with how we want to play. With the different variations of pressures. One of his sacks, came on a tight end where there's some urgency to worry about all this stuff going on at the line of scrimmage. Another one, Harry's, aligned outside of him, coming on a safety pressure, and they've got to push all the way out to him with the tackle, gives him a great edge rush on the guard. And then I think he, also another one, I think he eventually ended up somehow on a back, and late in the down, Harrison Phillips, with two impactful rushes on the same play, couldn't quite get him down, but JG's there to clean it up, and I just think it speaks to, not surprised. We've been talking, I think I've mentioned it a couple of times to you guys, like the sacks were going to come when you have the pressure rate that he's had through these first 2 games leading into yesterday. So not surprised, but love what JG's doing. My first job in Cleveland, he was the DB coach with the Browns for Pet, and we lived about 3 doors down from each other. Coach Angelico was there as well, right around the corner. So we had a nice little group of folks. My family and his family are close. I think the world of him as a person, and he's a fantastic football coach. Always, from the first day I met him, we kind of hit it off, and I really do respect him as much as anybody in this league. And very smart hire by Matt to bring him in there, and you can see it. It's all over the tape. It's early on here, just diving into it, but they're playing really, really good defense.
There were some stats late in yesterday's game where it looked like Stephon wasn't on the field a little bit and Harrison wasn't on the field a little bit. Was that just like veteran kind of like thinking through the course of the game, just being smart with
Yep,
that?
that's all it was. And just really when you're the game day 48, it's not like a preseason game where you could have a new wave of 11 guys. So it's just picking your spots for guys to maybe get a few less snaps. And it's not often, especially during my tenure here, not often we've been in that situation. But it speaks to the performance in totality of all three phases, to be able to start out fast, capitalize on the turnovers, score touchdowns, and special teams playing a role in the field position, and just never really given any free moments in that game to kind of lose momentum. Even the drive coming out of the second half, I thought was a good example of that.
Kevin Grenard was talking yesterday that he said many times as a veteran, he says, I feel like I've seen offenses come at me. But when he practices against your offense, he said, whatever Kevin throws, I was like, oh, I haven't seen that wrinkle before. Or he likes kind of to pick your brain while they're at practice.
Yeah.
Well, what does that say to you when you have got a guy like that is surprised at practice and then says that helps him game time?
Yeah, I mean, it's always, I think the most impactful feedback that I get is from our defensive players, whether it's training camp, even guys that we have here for a purpose and a reason. Bobby McCain has been like that all season long. I mean, there's now plays where I make sure they're scripted versus a certain look, and I tell him before, knowing he's going to be in the perfect spot, exactly where the defender is going to be in the game. Hey, did that do this to you? Did it stress you like that? And he'll be like, no, I think if you did this, and then we implement it. I mean, I am not going to sit here and I can watch all the tape I want, but the real-time feel of guys that have done it in this league, having access to a player like that with that kind of football intelligence has already helped. A couple plays yesterday, a couple plays in the opener, a couple plays versus the Niners. And, so I think, I love the feedback in real time from our guys. I always love the post-game feedback, just talking to some of the players, that great players we play against. So I think it's all valuable.
Kevin, Aaron Jones was talking yesterday about, like a lot of players, were about the vibe in the team that they just appreciate.
Yeah.
I guess with these new guys like Aaron and Sam, what have been your observations of how they kind of fit in, do it quickly, and seem to, be really impressed, I guess, by the environment?
Yeah, it goes back to kind of the dialogue before, in that limited time, either before they sign or right after they sign in free agency. First and foremost, word of mouth, I think, travels, from a standpoint of guys talk, everybody's connected either through agents or teammates, guys that have been here. I mean, it was awesome catching up with Cam Akers and, Chris Boyd, Daniil Hunter, and hearing that they're doing great where they are, because that's always my first priority. But when they use, hey, love you, coach, and loved being here, this place is unbelievable, Vikings fans are the best. I mean, you hear those things from guys that have been here and moved on, and then the new guys that come here, I challenge them, do not be surprised by it and capitalize on it and improve it and take something and make it better. And a guy like Aaron Jones, that's pretty easy for him to do. There's a huge reason why I wanted to make sure Aaron was a Minnesota Viking when we had the opportunity to bring him in, because I knew he's a classic case of a great player that will, not only hopefully take advantage of what this place has to offer from what the players have built here, but also make it better. And he is a one-of-one type leader, human being. What he brings to the building every single day, it's no surprise that you see it showing up in between the white lines because we've been seeing it really since day one, and I'm so happy to have Aaron Jones here.
Kevin, Justin said that he jammed his thumb on that catch,
Yeah.
and that he ended up having X-rays. And
Yep.
Did you feel like, in retrospect, that affected those two balls?
I don't know. I think the second one, that was I think it was a case of a practice rep, or a practice rep of that play, and then the previous one that Justin was not able to come up with, that was a little behind him. I think Sam might have been overcorrecting a little bit on that play, but yeah, those were kind of two that stuck out because third down was going to be a big stat in that game. Our first 2 touchdowns kind of came on third downs in the red zone, and if you get those, maybe aesthetically, maybe the day looks even better than it felt and than it was. But it's still early on in the season. We're still, we've got to get in a place where we're connecting on all those things, and constantly. There's still a lot of things that I can do better. A lot of play calls that I could give more clarity on. There's just a 1,000 ways that we need to keep improving as a team, regardless of what the results of these games mean. Absolutely nothing to me.
From a physical standpoint, you don't see any
No.
issue with it?
No, yeah, and at the time I had been kind of updated on some of the guys, but that was I think did you ask me that yesterday? Yeah, I had not been updated on it, but yeah, he came in, everything checked out.
Kevin, you said last night you spent more time with the defense.
Yep.
In your time, just in that room, in your conversation with Flo, watching what they've done, like what impresses you most about how they make it so simple for them and so complex for the other side?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where the initial presentation, the initial teaching, the initial learning throughout the spring, when I tell you guys, hey, it's the learning phase, that's to provide a lot of runway. So then we get to training camp, then we compete, and ultimately throughout that whole process, it's really designed to build ownership, player ownership of our schemes, and Flo and his staff have done a great job kind of building it up. We've got some really impactful pieces from a communication and mental standpoint, Harry being one of them. But it's not just him. It's, Blake Cashman. It's, Van Ginkel, Harrison Phillips from the interior, Grenard, Byron, Shaq, and Steph being the veterans that they are. So there's Metellus, Cam. There's just so many layers to it. What I love about it is you combine that player ownership with Flo's ability to put a game plan together that week based upon what we're going to get, what the answers more than likely will be, and how do we just provide as much stress as we possibly can for 60 minutes. That's my challenge to those guys every week. I want to feel the opponent working through that process every single week. Easier said than done. There's great coaches and players in this league, but I felt, for the third week in a row, I felt that enough to give us a chance offensively to sustain some drives, score some points, and still have a lot to correct and fix.
Kevin, going back to Aaron, and I guess it probably applies to all the guys you brought in, but you kind of used the word smart, tough, and loves football to
Yep.
describe every guy. You
Yep.
Where did you land on those pillars, and why are those so important?
Yeah, I just think for me, coming out of, the more and more you get to do this job, you just start learning things, and I'm still learning things every single day. But it just, coming out of last season, I just felt like where we were going to be going, and just spending a lot of time with Flo on what types of players we wanted to bring in. How could we assist in making sure that the players that we brought in were fits for the scheme, but guys that are smart, tough, and love football tend to do pretty well here, and there's enough of a sample size of that for me to feel strongly in that, and we were able to kind of check a lot of those boxes off with players that are playing very, very well for us, and Flo and I are not surprised by that, based upon the type of makeup and skill sets that we were able to bring in, that Kwesi and his staff were able to bring in.
How do you prepare for the Packers quarterback situation?
Yeah, I think Malik is doing some great things, and Jordan Love is one of the best young quarterbacks in our league. So we'll prepare as if both will play. It'll require a little bit of work on, they are different. with Malik in there. But at the same time, he made some big-time throws and moved the team, and there were chunks on the tape that we've got to try to keep off our tape. And then when Jordan's in there, we've seen it firsthand. When he gets into a rhythm and gets going, he's as talented of a thrower as there is in our league. So we got to be prepared for both of them. We're not gonna get the benefit of knowing kind of exactly what we're gonna see. So we've got to make sure we've got a game plan that's extensive for both those guys. And they've got a great group of skill guys, a really good running back, a great O-line, pretty special group.
How impressive was Darisaul's performance yesterday?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. CD's been really rock solid this whole season, and you guys you study it enough, and you see the hard down ends up on 71 a lot of the time with what we're able to do to kind of mitigate some risk and damage potentially from. We've really played some of the best rusher between Daniil and Will Anderson, and really they've got depth beyond that in Houston, and going back last week with Bosa, the opener with Burns and Thibodeau. I mean, it's an every week thing, and it's no different this week. I think this is one of the better fronts in football, both the edges with Preston and Rashawn, and then the interior waves after waves of kind of impact players that they have. So it's going to be no different this week. So as good as he was this past week, and as good as he's been, and our line really as a whole have done a lot of really good things in the run and pass, like none of that matters. We got a hell of a challenge coming up.
Kevin,
And then one more.
when you have a defensive scheme with this level of flexibility that players have right before the snap, what does that do for a defense's ability to stay ahead of an offensive play caller to try to get a beat of what the defense?
Yeah, it's just the presentation of the offense has a play clock, the defense plays off of the offense, so nothing will change, and as long as they don't change the rules on us, we can disguise, and the offense has to adjust to what we're doing, and then we can get to different things from everything we line up in. So in the end, there'll be a penalty on the field for delay a game if they take too long. We can wait till the snap and legally do anything as long as we've got 11 guys on the field and they're allowed to line up anywhere, and we're pushing the boundaries on that a little bit right now.
Hey, Kevin, what was going through your head this morning, just considering, JJ going down last month, not even a year ago, Kirk going down, and
Yeah.
quarterback at Wisconsin?
Yeah, no, I'm been very excited about the start that Sam's gotten off to, and I'm having an absolute blast coaching him. So when I saw him go down in the moment, there was the initial feeling, because I did not see it. So there's the initial feeling there, and then he comes back in the game, and I'm holding the call sheet, so I can't clap like everybody else did, but I would have when he came running back in the game. And then just to get the good news today, we're moving forward. Sam's in a great spot, going to have another good week of prep and keep stacking good performances.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.